Hello and welcome to Wealth TV's Special Report. I'm your host, Troy Harpins. Say you found a designer wallet on eBay. How would you know if it was real? In the next half hour, we're going to take you inside the widespread world of fake luxury goods. From handbags to clone golf clubs, we're going to show you the differences so you're not deceived on your next purchase. Name a luxury brand. Any luxury brand. Clothing, shoes, or handbags. Just name it and we'll tell you something you might not know. It's probably being counterfeited right now as we speak.
You name it and the counterfeiters are doing it.
Welcome to the world of counterfeiting. Whether you label them fakes, replicas, lookalikes, or reproductions, it's still called product counterfeiting and it's big business.
It's $1 billion industry as far as counterfeiting goes.
Tim Phillips, the author of The Deadly Trade in Counterfeit Goods, says this shadow economy would be the world's biggest business if it were acknowledged. According to the United States Department of the Treasury, Americans buy $200 billion worth of counterfeit items each year. Counterfeiting is known to account for 7% of worldwide trade. Imitation goods are deliberately produced to resemble well-known brands.
So if you got a product that's really hot, the counterfeiter's going to make it.
Manufacturers spend millions of dollars a year combating the growing problem of counterfeits.
Intellectual property rights are in our Constitution. They were written by our founding fathers. Counterfeiting actually happened in the medieval days, where blacksmiths would knock off each other's products.
So, what exactly is a counterfeit?
A counterfeit is something that bears a registered trademark of a brand owner.
So, what's a knockoff?
If you don't put the logo or a registered trademark on that item, it's not counterfeit. It's commonly referred to as a knockoff or an infringement.
Selling counterfeits is illegal. However, if you buy one, it's fine. Buy more than one, it's considered trafficking. So, where exactly are all these counterfeits coming from? According to the Department of Homeland Security, 63% of counterfeits come from China, and that's only what's been seized. Counterfeiters are addicted to brand names, even if they don't know which brand goes with which.
Obviously, this brand is the product, and then you have a whole other brand on the tag.
They're even known to make up their own unbelievable versions of items that you would never think to be faked. For example, Harry Potter books are a big hit in China, but unfortunately they have more books in the series than the author has actually written. Book 7 has not been yet released, but counterfeit versions have appeared all over China. For many people, buying a counterfeit item may seem like a good way to purchase a designer item at a fabulous price. However, consumers often don't realize that part of the reason these goods are so much cheaper is because they are badly made and possibly dangerous. For example, most counterfeited sunglasses carry little or no UV protection at all.
When you reverse the lens on some of the counterfeits, it actually attracts the sun. So we actually had reports over in Japan actually burning your retina out of your eyes because the sun comes in 10 times harder into the counterfeit. Counterfeiters don't care what they're doing.
Fake Rolexes may seem harmless enough, even thrifty. But would you still buy it if you knew that your money was going to support illegal drug trade or terrorism?
We are seeing a lot of indications that the sales of counterfeit merchandise are potentially tied to terrorism.
So, what is the obsession with brand names? Why are there so many copies, and why do so many people buy them?
It's a status bag. We call them status bags, and there's certain vendors that represent that status for a woman. They like the big initials on the bag, they like the Prada placard, they like the Dolce & Gabbana D&G jangling around in their handbags. It lets people know that they've got class and style and excellent taste.
Counterfeits have gotten so good that it's hard for most people to tell the difference between the faux and the actual genuine. We're interested to see how the counterfeits truly measure up to the authentic items, so we're going to put 3 different fakes to the test. We want to see if the average Joe can identify the real goods. First up, we have a real Louis Vuitton and a fake. Let's see what people choose.
This one is the real one.
It's not.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
This one's the real one.
That one's the fake one.
No way!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this one's the, oh, what am I gonna say?
Right.
This is a Louis Vuitton bag. I can't believe I got that wrong.
That's okay. And how about that trendy Tiffany necklace?
This one feels like the fake one.
That one's the real one.
Is it?
this one's the real one.
That one's the fake one. But it looks like the real thing, we know. We were pretty surprised to find out that these counterfeit items were so good that it was hard for them to tell the difference.
Oh, this one's tough.
This problem only gets worse over the internet. Sure, there are people who really just don't know they're buying a fake, but there are also people who buy counterfeits deliberately. Most people who buy from those popular purse parties or on New York's Canal Street know they're buying a knockoff and don't care.
Because I like purses and things like that, and I want to have a lot of them.
And as long as there's demand, there will unfortunately be plenty of supply. We want to make sure you don't get scammed into buying counterfeit luxury goods. So, just how do you spot a fake? Now, we don't claim to know everything. There are too many things to look for, and counterfeiters get better day by day. But we're gonna talk with the experts and share their secrets and tips with you.
The blue here, you know, when you typically see your Rolex, it's shined up nice, it's in display, it's not wrapped with plastic.
In Chanel eyewear, each piece of eyewear has laser inscripted serial numbers and data into the lens.
So which Burberry scarf do you think is the counterfeit? If you guessed this one, then you're correct. We'll show you how to tell when Wealth TV's special report continues.
What would you do if you came across a designer handbag that was going for much, much less than it should? Is it an amazing steal or is it an overpriced fraud? We're going to talk with the experts and share with you their tips on the top woman accessories.
Purses, jeans, jewelry. We've got it all, and we're going to share with you what the pros have to say.
Right away, it's pretty easy.
Let's start with clothing. Fashion is a big industry, but unfortunately, so is counterfeiting it. Wearing apparel ranks as the top counterfeited item brought into the U.S.
It's a little bit easy to tell that it's counterfeit. It has a Fruit of the Loom tag on the inside and a brand name on the front.
Kevin Parrish is an expert on accessories. He's going to tell us some quick tips about how to identify the real luxury brands.
Right over here we have two Burberry jackets, and what you want to pay attention to is the labeling, and that's one of the easiest telltale signs of authenticity. The Burberry scarf is actually made in Scotland. The Burberry brand is actually from London, and as we can see here, this just says Burberry London. So there's a big difference between the two, this one being the authentic.
Top denim designers 7 for All Mankind are commonly knocked off. They may look real, but if you're buying them on the street, chances are they're not. These hot jeans usually retail in the mid-100s, and what's really maddening is that the counterfeits are sold for just as much. Just remember that even though their tag says they're 7s, doesn't necessarily mean they are. Up next, jewelry. It's that small blue box that every woman dreams of receiving. Tiffany & Company is widely regarded as the top choice for jewelry selections. Sadly, Tiffany is also among the top preference among counterfeiters. The easiest thing to look for is weight. The real one will be heavier than the fake one. Tiffany & Company uses sterling silver, while the fakes, well, the silver's fake too. A pouch and box should always accompany Tiffany merchandise. And the biggest indicator? If the person who sells it to you doesn't tie that famous Tiffany bow, that's a dead giveaway, it's fake. And finally, handbags. So why are women so in love with handbags in the first place?
Well, women love handbags because it's one of the most visible things that they can have on their person. People don't always necessarily recognize the clothing that you're wearing. If you're wearing a Prada suit, most people would never know that. But when you carry a Prada bag, people do. And to some women, that's really important.
But no outfit is complete unless you have a cute purse to go with it. This is my favorite purse. I actually got it in England. It's Burberry and it's so cute.
Last year, a study found that 60% of women own at least 10 handbags. Many of the popular handbags are priced in the thousands and are too expensive for the average consumer to buy. This is where the counterfeit bags come into play.
One thing that is definitely something I'm not proud of having in my closet are fake purses.
In fact, almost too easy to find. Look around, you can find them at swap meets, certain stores, and all over the internet. Here are some helpful hints.
One thing that you want to pay attention to in selecting a handbag is making sure that the placard is spelled properly. It's very clear and easy to read. The stitching on the handbag is very even, and a lot of times in leather is the feel of the leather. And also be very, very careful where you purchase your items.
Especially over the internet. Have you ever bought a purse online like a Louis Vuitton bag that claimed it was authentic, but you just still weren't sure? Well, we know the way you can find out. It's called authentication.
Joining us today is an expert on Louis Vuitton authentication. Angie Houston, the founder of MyPipette.com, has been authenticating Louis Vuitton for years and is here to share with us some wonderful tips for spotting that fake. How are you doing today, Angie?
Very well. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm so excited to get to all this merchandise. But first, tell me about how you got started with this.
I started a few years ago because I saw a need for people who were buying designer bags on eBay, especially. There were a lot of fakes there, and I wanted people to know the difference between real and fake. So I didn't want people saying that an item was authentic when it really wasn't.
And what exactly is authentication, and what does the process entail?
Authentication is just making sure that the item that someone says is authentic is. You check various points, you check the hardware, you check the leather, you check the alignment, and you just make sure that everything is as it should be.
Can you guess how many requests Angie receives monthly?
We receive probably in excess of 5,000 requests per month.
Wow, 5,000 requests.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, and out of all the bags that you look at, are the majority of them fake or real?
Unfortunately, the majority is fake.
And unfortunately, there are so many counterfeited Louis Vuitton merchandise. Do you have any tips that you want to share with our viewers to help them know that they're buying a fake?
Well, the first thing is to know, first of all, if the company even made that product.
Angie says the next step is to look closely at the details of the bag.
It could be anywhere from checking to make sure that the handles look right, that the leather looks right, that the studs are where they're supposed to be, and the font and the stamping is correct as well.
And hopefully you too have taken home some helpful tips on how to avoid buying those fakes.
Stick around because we bought items off the internet that claimed they were authentic. Or were they? We're gonna test them out and we'll show you the results next.
All right, and then for those of you who think, I don't carry a handbag, I don't have to worry about that fake stuff, well, counterfeits impact you too, and we're gonna put them to the test.
Men really like to have those names on their sunglasses and their wallets. It may not be quite as flashy as carrying a handbag, but a man likes to pull out a wallet that's got something recognizable on it.
And the #1 men's accessory? The piece that's been ticking away on wrists for years, the watch. Rolex is the all-time favorite, and unfortunately, counterfeiters have gotten very good at copying it. We purchased a Rolex online that claimed it was authentic. The problem? It only cost $40.
We're here with David Bowie, who is an expert appraiser and is pretty familiar with the Rolex brand. How are you doing today?
Great.
And how long have you been appraising for?
It's my 21st year.
Wow. And have you come across a lot of fakes?
Come across quite a few. Some good and some not so good.
Well, I have a surprise for you. We have brought you 2 Rolex watches, one that has been purchased from an authorized Rolex dealer, and the other one, a $40 Rolex off the internet. And I'm not going to tell you which one's which, but I'm going to put these out here so you can look at them and you can tell us.
Well, that's pretty easy. The colors are all wrong on the fake here. So
you're quick.
Yeah, it's just not Rolex colors. Everything about this is just looks much richer. The first big test, though, if you weren't sure about the colors and didn't have the other watch, you'd pick this one up and you would notice that it's much lighter than the Rolex. The Rolex is carved out of a solid block of stainless steel, and it just appears much heavier. Second thing that you would probably look for is the second hand here. In a fake Rolex, especially a $40 one, you're going to see a quartz movement on the inside, and of course quartz is battery, and these second hands, they tick one beat every second. You can see it going around.
Okay.
In the Rolex, it's an automatic movement, meaning that you have to wear the watch in order to wind it, and it has a much smoother second hand, doesn't jump around.
But be careful, because some of the more expensive fakes do include a sweep. On the backside of a genuine Rolex, there should be a green hologram sticker.
The back of this watch, for example, is a contrast. It has some engraving that may look a little official, but you'll never see that type of an engraving on a genuine Rolex.
David also says to look for serial numbers on the band by the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock positions. And last but not least, it's the attack of the clones. Golf clones, that is.
All right, we've hit the greens, and we're here with golf guru Jake Vigil. How are you doing today, Jake?
Good, Troy. How are you?
Thank you so much. We're so excited to have you test out these clubs.
My pleasure.
What we have here is a TaylorMade R510 TP, and that retails for about $800, and it's an outstanding club. And here on the internet, we found this clone club that's supposed to perform just like the real one. This one is only $95, and so we're excited to have you put them to the test. Is there anything that you see physically so far that looks different?
Just by looking at them, they look to be about the same size. The looks are kind of similar, and this one seems to be a little more square, a little more boxy. This one seems to be a little more racy. So,
which one do you think is going to perform better?
Well, I'm gonna hope the $800 one goes a little better than the $95 one. So
we hope so too. Jake is going to first swing with the authentic TaylorMade club.
Well, that sounded pretty good. It felt pretty good. It felt like it hit that solid, and it went down the fairway like it was supposed to. So $800 well spent.
Now let's see Jake try the fake.
Well, this it went straight. It doesn't look like it went as far, but it felt okay. It felt a little like a solid piece of metal as opposed to a hollow golf club. So
now let's listen to the sound of the clone club. And now let's hear how it's really supposed to sound. What a difference.
All right, Jake, what did you think?
Well, I definitely prefer the TaylorMade club over the knockoff club, and I think that it goes a lot further and it sounds a lot better to me. But I guess for a beginner, that's probably an okay club. It sounds a lot like you get what you pay for. So you probably got about $95 worth out of that club as opposed to $800 worth. So
stick around, because you'll meet the superheroes that fight the battle on counterfeiting on a daily basis.
We fight hard.
From the streets to the internet, they're out to win.
Catching bad guys.
Next on Wealth TV's Special Report.
Welcome back. Maybe you can't afford the real thing, or perhaps you think you deserve a bargain, so you head to the swap meet to buy a fake handbag. You get the bag you wanted and have saved hundreds of dollars. So what's the harm? More harm than you think.
The International Anti-Counterfeiting Coalition is the largest organization in the world devoted to protecting intellectual property. They say counterfeiting is a $600 billion a year problem. U.S. businesses lose between $200 billion and $250 billion in revenue each year due to counterfeiting. And according to U.S. Customs, the United States economy loses millions of dollars in tax revenue and has lost over 750,000 jobs due to the manufacture, sale, and distribution of counterfeit goods. Counterfeiting is a much larger problem than people think. Most famous brand owners go to great lengths to combat the problem. They hire special investigators to help them out.